At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right. No, we're not doing a countdown. No, we're not. We're not going to do that here. Some really unfortunate, sad, breaking news involving a former Razorback. Many of you know the name Ryan Mallett. Many of you, I'm sure, got to watch Ryan Mallett. I know I did, but he has, according to Luke Matheson, via Twitter and their website, or their website, Deltaplex News, Ryan Mallett has passed away. I'm going to be real with you. I've never done a show like this. I don't know the proper way. Like, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was ready to go live half an hour ago. I was ready to go live. I used the same thumbnail. I didn't change it out of respect to Ryan Mallett. And I'm sure I've only ever heard good things about Luke Matheson. So if he says it, from what I understand, it's true. So I'm not doubting him, but just out of respect to Ryan, I didn't want to put his name in the title, and I didn't want to put his picture on the thumbnail, but I did want to put that, it was breaking news. But it looks like it happened. He is Ryan Mallett, former Razorback great. Former Razorback quarterback, has passed away. This is what Deltaplex News says. Deltaplex News has confirmed through... Hang on, I better make sure I'm not having mic trouble. There we go. Deltaplex News has confirmed through multiple sources that Whitehall head football coach and former Arkansas Razorback quarterback Ryan Mallett has drowned in Florida. Multiple sources tell Deltaplex News that Mallett was transported to a Florida hospital from a beach. He was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Mallett was hired by Whitehall on February 23rd of last year, 2022. No other details are available at this time. Deltaplex News will update this story as more information becomes available. So, just unfortunate. Anyone who was fortunate enough to watch him play, I mean, he was a big-time quarterback out of high school. I think he was a unanimous 5-star. I had a buddy tell me that, I can remember when we worked together at Sam's Club, he'd tell me, man, this kid down south of here, of course, we worked in Springdale. This kid, he's not going to come to Arkansas. He's going to go to Michigan, but man, he's got an NFL arm. And I remember thinking, no way. 17-year-old kid with an NFL arm? That was just kind of unheard of. And, of course, Ryan would go to Michigan for a year, and then he would transfer to Arkansas shortly after Bobby Petrino was hired at Arkansas. And the rest is history. What he did here, I didn't know was possible at the University of Arkansas. Right? I mean, when was Arkansas ever known to first off possess a quarterback of that caliber? I mean, I know Mitch was highly recruited. Mitch Mustaine was highly recruited, before that, but we didn't really ever see it, right? Mitch was a freshman. Houston Nutt wasn't known for airing the ball out. And neither were any coach before Petrino, and then Mallett and Bobby Petrino was just it was just perfect. And we got to see it for a couple of years, and it was some of the most exciting football I've ever seen. And Ryan Mallett was the catalyst to it all. I mean, he changed what we thought was possible at the University of Arkansas. We can air the ball out. We can have an exciting brand of offensive football. We can win games. We can do things that other schools told us we couldn't do, not to mention luring a big-time talent like that. Now, I think he has roots in Lincoln, Arkansas. I've always heard that. But I guess he has connections in Prairie Grove and Lincoln, that part of Northwest Arkansas. Anyone I've ever talked to that had been around the guy loved him. I mean, coaches always thought highly of him, Yeah, it changed. And some of you guys may be too young to remember that, But me growing up, my first favorite Razorback as far as football was concerned was Madre Hill. And then after that, it was Cedric Cobbs or Chris Chikuma. It was always running backs because that's what Arkansas could do really well. Of course, Darren McFadden, Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, who also had a tragic event. Thankfully, he survived in the waters, nearly, passing away, trying to save his kid. Thank God he survived. But yeah, your favorite, if you were growing up as a Razorback fan, going all the way back to you had Joe Ferguson, Quinn Grovey, Barry Lenny Jr. took you to your first. He was a part of that team that took you to the first SEC championship. Well, for Arkansas, that was the first SEC championship to lose to Florida. But you weren't really, and then you had Clint Sterner, and Clint Sterner was fantastic, but we just had never seen a level of play like Ryan's. We'd never seen anything like it. And I remember when Petrino got hired, I was in line at Slim's Chicken, and my dad called me and was like, "Can you believe it? We got Petrino." And I said, "Yeah. Well, if only now they can get a big-time quarterback." Well, what'd they do? They got Ryan Mallett. And after he left Michigan, and that was it. We knew what was coming, and he was kind of the catalyst. Just sad. You want it to all be BS. You want it to all not be true, but it looks to be confirmed. So rest in peace to Ryan Mallett. Thoughts and prayers are to him and his family, to the people down at Whitehall. Just really sad ordeal. Really unfortunate. Please don't feel obligated to super chat or anything like that. I appreciate that. I'm going to even wait to call out my sponsors and give them a tag. I just wanted to get that bit out there first. Rest in peace, Ryan Mallett. What's up, Philip? How you doing, man? Fish did give a super chat. I do appreciate that. I'll read that when it's I do appreciate it, Fish. I really do, but I'm going to wait to read that until we're kind of on to the next segment. Ryan Mallett was to me what Clint Sterner was to my dad. He was the hero for the state. My first game ever was his first start in a Hog uniform. Wow. Tercer says this is heartbreaking. It really is. John Oliver, I'll be 40 in 3 weeks, says being 40, those years with Ryan Mallett, Tyler Wilson, Brandon Allen were some of the best, especially offensively. It was unbelievable. Ryan changed what we thought was possible. He really did. And, yeah, Petrino, of course, was the architect. It was his offense. We know Tyler Wilson had success. I think Brandon Allen would have had success in this offense. But, boy, Ryan Ryan Mallett was the he was the catalyst to it all, man. I mean, it was just incredible. And to see that arm talent on display is just incredible. Let me refresh the page here. Really love seeing him throw the ball, says Ricky Murray. Yeah. John Oliver says SDS has reported it now as well. Mallett to Colby Hamilton for 80 for LSU going into halftime. What a memory. So many great, when you talk about like the aerial attack, right? The offense, the points put up. You're going to find a lot of, in Arkansas history, you're going to find a lot of Ryan Mallett to whoever, right? Ryan Mallett to Hamilton, Ryan Mallett to, you name any receiver in that era, and he was getting it done, man. This is surreal. It is. I'm kind of, I don't know if I'm not like I don't know how to put it into words. I'm just shocked. I was ready to go live. I was going to make it a quick live show, go cook dinner, and maybe, I don't know, play some Diablo 4 or something with my boys, watch some more of The Bear. I don't know if you guys are watching that on FX or on Hulu. Sorry, it's Hulu. Oh, my gosh. We just finished the first season. Incredible. What a show. First season was incredible. We're going to start the second season hopefully soon. But, yeah, I was going to kind of carry on with my evening, and then this just it actually broke in our Discord. That's where I saw it first. Tercer says he was 35 years young. Yeah. Rest in peace, man. I was at the mall not long ago, the NWA mall, and every once in a while you'll have those guys, that are like trying to sell cards, and I walked up to 2 or 3 of the different tables. I was looking for a Ryan Mallett at Arkansas card. I wanted a Ryan Mallett. Like if there was a card that just had him in a jersey and they couldn't find anything, I really wanted one. I was thinking, man, how cool. I want to get all those guys from that era. I'd like to get their cards. That was just not that long ago. Philip says, prayers for Ryan's family first, teammates, and also his players he leaves behind. That's right. Yeah, at Whitehall. I couldn't imagine if Coach Clinton Gore had passed away during our time in school. Yeah. I mean, wait, hang on. Let me scroll this up here. Seen that show. Didn't know if it was any good. Yeah, it's about this guy that was a chef. He's a world famous chef working at a kind of a, I shouldn't say crappy little restaurant, but it was a restaurant that was left to. It's really good. I highly recommend it. All right. Again, thoughts and prayers to his family, to his players down at Whitehall. And I'm sure we'll hear from former teammates and whatnot during that era. On maybe on local radio or on Twitter or whatever, but yeah. All right. It's kind of tough to transition from. I'm not gonna lie. That one hits, man. That hits hard. Just bring, when you think of Ryan, you just think of how fun Arkansas football was, and I'm not saying that it couldn't be or that it's not or hasn't been since. They've had some success since then. Since he's was no longer a Razorback. Of course, the following year with Tyler Wilson, they were fantastic. And you've had a couple of good years in between since then. But again, Ryan Mallett, he just kind of ushered in that oh my God, we can do that here kind of feeling. It was just a whole different, you're talking about leaving an era of like I formation football, of running the ball, I don't know how many times a game, a lot, being very one-dimensional. I remember Arkansas just always seemed like they were having trouble with a quarterback who could throw the football, especially under Houston Nutt, outside of Sterner, and of course Matt Jones was just prolific in all these different kinds of ways. But if you could slow him down in the run game, very rarely did he have success passing the football. Hence why he played in the NFL as a wide receiver, why he was a first-round pick. And then again, Ryan Mallett comes along with Petrino, and it was just unbelievable. It blew me away. It ushered in a whole different era of what we thought would be a long time. Of course, we know it wasn't after Petrino was fired. There will probably be a prayer ceremony on the Hill for him. He's an Arkansas legend, in my opinion. He is. All right, we're gonna transition away from that. Again, I know you guys. We're gonna have people hop in, want to talk about it, but I'm gonna transition into Arkansas recruiting here in just a second. First off, we're not going to do an odd soul poll today. We're not going to do that. I had one in mind, but I'm not going to do it. But this show, of course, is brought to you by the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzaria. Good pizza, quality stuff on tap, great staff, great environment. If you're ever in town, go check them out. Located in Springdale on Emma Street. Yeah, that's the Odd Soul Craft Bar and Pizzeria. And also, of course, direct service overhead, the Garage Door Company. Free estimates, quality parts, affordable outcomes. Give them a call today at 501-244-3667. Again, that's direct service overhead, the Garage Door Company. Arkansas recruiting. Well, we'll start with the good. We'll start with the good in Arkansas landing Zuri Madison. Zuri Madison, a 3-star according to 247 composite and the 247 sports rating out of Frederick Douglass, Lexington, at Frederick Douglass High School, Lexington, Kentucky, part of this 2024 class. Recruited, of course, by Cody Kennedy. It's a good get. 6'5", 315, big boy. I think the plans are actually to move him inside. But in one conversation I'd had with somebody, I think the plan is to possibly move him and play him in the interior. I think he plays a little bit of both at Frederick Douglass. Did have some pretty good offers, Miami, West Virginia among them. I think he ended up with something like 12 or 13 total offers. He just came off an official visit with Miami, according to 247, and he was on an official visit here on June 16th. Arkansas did not offer him until May 18th. Again, if 247 is correct, for some reason I thought they had offered him sooner. But according to them, he was offered on May 18th, and he was on his official visit in mid-June on June 16th. So he has committed. This is a good get. I like him a lot. I think they've done a pretty good job, even with some of the 3-star prospects. I know people, boy, they just love to judge players off their rate, off their stars. But I'm telling you, this was a guy that Miami, from what I understand, really wanted. A couple other schools in Arkansas fought their way into landing him as a commitment. He is, according to 247 composite, he's a top 3 player in the state of Kentucky. He's 593rd ranked nationally. I don't know if he's someone that you talk about that's going to get the bump up or not, when those next bumps come around for players. But he's someone that apparently stood out, and Arkansas really liked. Coach Kennedy really liked. Sam Pittman really liked. We got they did. They got the kid out of Fort Smith. You're right, they did. I have a list here. Pull up my notes here. Yeah, Branham, Patreon supporters, we're kind of giving a heads up on this in Discord. I like Branham a lot. It was a good get. I can't remember the last time. Who was the last prospect you pulled out of Fort Smith? I mean, that was a good get too. I liked him a lot. That's a really good get for Arkansas. I think so far they've done a pretty good job. I mean, again, I know people love to judge players when it comes to offensive line. I think they've done a decent job of getting these guys here and getting them in the rotation, getting them in the mix, and they're doing it. You got to remember, I feel like for the first time, I don't know how high the ceiling is for the offensive line this year. I don't know. Of course, we know that they've got a couple of good positions up front on the offensive line. You feel pretty good about the center. You feel good about one of the guard spots. We'll see what the Florida transfer does. Patrick Kutas at right guard. I think it's still going to kind of be a battle at left tackle. We'll see what happens there. But, you got some former 3-stars that are battling and that the staff really likes a lot. Now, obviously, we don't know what they look like when it comes to playing time because it's not as if Sam Pittman's been here for 5-6 years and, we're seeing these guys fight their way to the top just yet. You've had a couple. This class so far, Kobe Branham, along with Zuri Madison, both really good gets. Now, I know both these guys after they, around June when I heard they were especially – now Branham's been in the picture for a while. We know Branham out of Fort Smith, plays at Southside. He's been on their radar for a while. I don't know that I can say the same about Madison or not, kid out of Kentucky, but from what I understand, around June they were all in. Now that could be a number of different reasons. There could be a number of different reasons why they do that. Either they really like the kid, or they're swinging and missing on other prospects. And I do think that is possible right now. And we kind of talked about it already. But there is one prospect that Arkansas, as of not that long ago, I thought Arkansas, I was a hard lean. And again, I've talked about Jaquan McRoy, but it looks like Oregon is in the lead for his services. He's supposed to announce here in 3 days. I think he's already got 2 crystal balls to Oregon. Sounds like he's going to get flipped. I say flipped. He hasn't committed anywhere, but so I shouldn't say flipped. I apologize. It sounds like he's going to end up committing to Oregon. And he's not the only one. Chris Johnson Jr., who was supposed to announce on July 4th, just posted on Twitter that his recruiting is opened up and he's going to postpone his announcement. I'm going to tell you right now what I've been telling Patreon supporters, and I believe this to be true. He was a hog lean. And he just recently was on an Oregon visit, according to 247, on June 23rd. So Oregon may very well flip both these guys, Chris Johnson and McRoy. Chris Johnson, I hear nothing but good things about. I hear nothing but people talking about how, his star, he's not given the respect that he's owed. And you're going to hear that a lot about all these kids. But this is a guy that apparently has stood out a little bit. Was supposed to announce July 4th, and from what I understand, I would say he's a hog lean. That doesn't mean that I thought he was 100%, but I definitely thought he was a lean. I thought Arkansas was leading that battle. He's got offers from Arizona State, Oregon, Louisville, Utah, being heavily recruited by Arizona State and Oregon. It sucks to lose those kind of teams. It sucks. And Oregon's got that Nike money. Oregon is a bigger brand right now than Arkansas. Let's just be real. Say what you want about them. They're just a bigger brand. Arkansas's coming off a year in which they won 6 regular season games. It's just the nature of it. I know it's weird when you go from basketball and baseball recruiting, when you hear about all these major big-time transfers and high school recruits and recruiting high 4 and 5 stars, and then you come to football and it's like they're scratching and clawing to get more than just a small handful of 4 stars. But, guys, that's been the reality with Arkansas football for in the age of recruiting websites. It's always been the case. They've always had to scratch and claw for these type of players. And Chris Johnson probably is a guy I could see getting a bump. I'm not saying you get 4 stars necessarily. 6'1", 180 out of Aledo, Texas, part of the 2024 class. It's just part of it. It's also just recruiting. Look, I mean, we have beaten Oregon out. for prospects. It's not always the case. They're not always beating you. You've beaten Texas and Oklahoma and some other, good, real, as far as brand recognition, some big ones and call it in amongst the Power Five. Every once in a while, you're gonna get a couple of guys like this that end up, you think they're Arkansas lean and they end up going to somewhere out west like in Oregon. And they may be better off, maybe that's a place where they go and they feel like they can get some more playing time a little sooner. But I'm not gonna lie to you, I really liked Chris Johnson. Had someone who's followed the situation really pumped me up about him, but he said early on Chris Johnson's situation is kind of a week-to-week basis, but thought that Arkansas was in the lead. Doesn't look to be the case any longer. I do think they're going to end up with some more four-star prospects. We got a long ways to go before December. We got a long ways to go. You could still flip these guys back. I know that after they've had some guys commit elsewhere and Arkansas staying on top of them. So you do have that. Arkansas right now ranked 23rd in the country on the overall rank according to 247. Composite, they're 23rd. This I'm telling you, it might be a top-heavy class because it's still early. We also don't know how many high school players they're going to actually offer scholarships to because, now it may be half and half. It may be – I think they're going to absolutely – they're going to go hard into the transfer portal. That's where I'm at with it. That's what I think they end up doing. All right, let me scroll up, find that super chat that Fish left. Ryan gave us 2 of the best seasons of our lifetime. May you rest in peace. Well, yeah. Well, what up, John? How you doing, man? Yeah, Swag. I just talked about a couple of other. I don't have anything right now on who you've mentioned there. Man, if I'm a lineman, I don't want to play for anybody else but Pittman, but maybe I'm biased. Yeah. With the reputation that he had as an offensive line coach, it is a little bit surprising. Coach Kennedy is, if this does happen and you don't land a 4-star prospect up front on the offensive line or none of the guys that are currently committed, they are targeting. I'm going to tell you, these are not the only 2 offensive linemen they're going to go after. I think they're I think they're going to try and at least get 3 in this class. And who knows? I mean, again, with the portal, they may just listen, you're going to get July. It's going to be like last year. They're going to get some commits in July. We'll see who else they're in on by then. We'll take a look at it. They're not done on the offensive line. Whether it's transfer portal or high school, they're not done. I mean, I'm just stating what feels like the obvious, right? There is also concern about Nareel White. Highly sought after 4-star athlete out of Ocean Springs, Mississippi. All I can say is I'll just say I feel like they're hanging on to his commitment by like a thread. And this is coming since he's kind of cleared things up on Twitter, and I think he's talked to the media a little bit. And last I'd heard, he was back to being a hard lock to Arkansas, and now there's rumors that he may not be. I don't know. With Nareel White, I just say it's going to be a roller coaster ride to get him here. It has been already to keep him committed. I do think this is a guy that could be a lot of help wherever you want to put him, whether you want to put him in the secondary or whatever. This is a guy that can help. He's a big time prospect. And Nareel White, I don't know. I'd tell you right now, if he were to decommit before I'm done here, it wouldn't shock me, okay? And we all know things happen when I'm live. It seems like all the time. As soon as I go live, you get some kind of crazy something going on. I do like this class. It is a bit top-heavy. They have currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, they've got, 6 4-stars. Again, according to 247, they're always going to be top-heavy. Arkansas recruiting classes are going to always be top-heavy, right? You're going to have your 5 to 7 4-stars, and then a whole bunch of 3-stars. That's just kind of how it is. A lot of schools are like that, right? It's just hard to be competitive in this conference. When you can't really consistently break into the top 20 in terms of recruiting, when you can't do it on a consistent basis. But the good news is we've seen what they can do in the portal. I think they crushed it in the portal this last class. I think they absolutely crushed it. when you go up and down the depth chart and you look where these guys are going to fill some needs. Now, did they solve all the issues? I don't know. We'll see what Braun does on the offensive line. We'll see what happens in the secondary. We'll see what happens at wide receiver, at tight end. You guys know how I feel about Varkey's Gums. I'm all about that. That kid, I know he's a little bit shorter. He's 6'2", 6'3", 230, whatever, but he really reminds me of a little bit more athletic version of DJ Williams. I'm really excited about what he can do in Dan Enos' offense. But, I think where they probably miss in the recruiting in high school, they're going to get in the portal. They've just done a really good job. I will say it's, had Drew Sanders gone in the first round, you'd feel a hell of a lot better about what they could do in the portal. If they could produce more of these transfers, get them in position to be talked about as first, second, or third round draft picks, if you can have that happen more often, more consistently, you're going to see the transfer portal rankings really skyrocket. But even without doing that, they've done a hell of a job. And it's not like Sam's been here again for 5 or 6 years. We're going into year 4. But going back to the high school class, Collins, Kavion Henderson, Crutchfield, Pope, linebacker out of Batesville, Mississippi, who committed a couple months ago. I mean, they're doing a good job, man. KJ Jackson, quarterback, they picked up. I think he got a bump on his size. I thought he was 6'2" when he committed. I looked at that today, and it showed him at 6'3". So I could have sworn he was like 6'1", 6'2", and now I'm looking at him here on 247. They say he's 6'3". Let's see. In case y'all hadn't heard, yeah, we've already talked about that. Johnny Jones, thank you though. Yeah, that's how we started the show, was talking about Ryan. And if you're just joining us, the first, I don't know how many minutes were about Ryan. I did play the ad to start the show, but that's just how my OBS is set up to play that. So, but I didn't want to read Super Chat. I did not put his name in the title, didn't put his thumbnail up. I may do an edited video in memory of Ryan. I don't know. Maybe not. He's not the first, more recent former Razorback to pass away, but you just saw it on Pig Trail Nation. Yeah. I wish we could average at least 4 or 12 4-star dudes. You've come close. What class was that? Where they had like 8 or 9 4-stars? What was that? 20? Was that? It was a Brett Bielema class, was it not? Like 2014, 2013. Really good class. I heard Braylon Russell was down to Arkansas and Tennessee. Yeah, that is, from what I understand, with a crystal ball to South Carolina. It like I've told Patreon supporters, it is a complicated. Braylon Russell's recruitment, I've just kind of given up. I don't want to bother anybody about him anymore. I don't want to talk to anybody when it comes up in group chat. No one ever knows what. Like, there's all kinds of smoke about what's going on between, for a while, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Arkansas. At the moment, I'm not going to report on anything until I hear something from at least more than one individual. And until then, he's supposed to announce mid-July. I don't know if that's changed or not. Josh Pate thinks we won't have a good offense. Really? When did he say that? Josh Pate said that? If you're in our Discord, I'd love to see that link. That's a bit surprising. I'm going to be real with you. I don't really watch. When it comes to Arkansas football, I don't watch a lot of other people's content. I used to. Look it up. I think he was talking about our missing players. Well, I'll look it up later. I think it's easier to find a decent running back than any other skill position, honestly. Yeah, well, Arkansas certainly done a really good job there. Arkansas's done a really good job of going after. They were RBU for like 2 years after it was during the Alex Collins, Jonathan Williams era. Everything I've heard, John Oliver says everything I've heard from Pate has Arkansas as a dark horse. Yeah, I don't know. That's surprising to me if he said that, Johnny. That'd be surprising. I'll just call you JJ because we got John Oliver and we have Johnny Jones. Chris McKnight says he said the opposite. Yeah, well, I'm going to have to find that video because I'd love to critique it. I made a critique of RJ Young's take on Mike Woods a couple years back. Yeah, everyone's saying, I don't know, Johnny Jones. We're going to have to. I mean, he makes a lot of content. Basically what he was saying, if our O-line isn't good, our secret weapons won't matter. Well, that's always the case, right? Now, you could make – and listen, it's kind of funny you say that. I literally have a script written out about the offensive line, about the changes in good or bad scenarios. And when you look at what's going on at both tackle spots, Kutas at right tackle, and I think left tackle is going to come down to a couple of guys there, Devin Manuel or Chambly. You're talking about new guys. You're replacing seniors. One of them a longtime Razorback, longtime player who couldn't stay healthy, finally had a fully healthy year. Dalton Wagner was fantastic this year. And then you got to replace Luke Jones and whatever else is going on over there at left tackle. You got 2 tackles to make up for. You're going to have a new interior guy on the inside. You're talking about 3 spots that could make or break this offensive line or this whole entire offense. Yeah, I have a whole script written out to make that into either an edited video or to make it the subject matter of a live show. Listen, if he said that, he's not wrong. And listen, that's the case for any offense. Since we're on the subject of an offensive lineman that did just recently commit, along with a kid out of Fort Smith Southside, you could say that about any offense at any level, high school, hell, going all the way back to Pee Wee, Kiwanis, which I played. I don't know if any of you guys played Kiwanis football. I played it in football. I was always the red team. Kiwanis to middle school, 7th grade youth center football, Ramey Junior High to Fayetteville High. Of course, I didn't finish out at Fayetteville, but and then you look to it's always been the case. You have that ingrained in you as a player, and as I'm sure coaches and fans, we all understand at any level, if the offensive line sucks, your offense is going to suck. It all comes down to the offensive line. That goes for Alabama to Georgia to Ohio State, Michigan, all the way down to teams that are fighting just to get 6 or 7 wins a year. If you don't have a legit offensive line that can compete, series in and series out, you're going to get your ass whooped, especially in this league where line of scrimmage play still matters. And you could say that for the Big 12. We know they're kind of a pass-happy or offensive-happy league. It probably matters just as much, if not more, at least from an offensive line perspective, because of how often and how dynamic those offenses can be. It doesn't matter, man. If you don't get it done up front on the line of scrimmage on the offensive line, look how – and I don't know that you could say the same for the defense, because look how elite that pass rush was a year ago, and you still gave up 7,000 yards per game. I mean, now, yeah, it helps when you can stop the run, right, if you have the complete package up front. But for the offensive line, it matters most. It starts left tackle, starts with both your tackles, your interior. You got to have a good anchor, like your center in the middle. And Arkansas, I think, again, has at least done a pretty good job of getting guys here and just getting them in the mix. We'll see, man. This is going to be a big year for that offensive line. You've had a lot of change, He did say watch out for issues with replacing top 4 receivers. Yeah. No Landers, no Hazelwood. Keytron Jackson gone. Trey Knox gone. Those are names. Those are guys that are going to be difficult to replace. But it's not as if in that offense they were big pieces, but they were also, it seemed like, somewhat limited in that offense. They were kind of cut off a little bit. I think had they, Dan Enos is, I think, going to throw the ball a little bit more than Kendall was willing to out of the veer and shoot. We'll have to wait and see. I do like Tislaw. I do like I do like the pieces on the at wide receiver. I'm not. The issue that you keep getting hung up on, like you couldn't point to a map where Andrew Armstrong played college football, right, before he came here. Isaac Tislaw, can you name off the top of your head without a Google search? Now, if you really follow recruiting, you know exactly where he came from. But for the casual fan, nobody has heard of his school. I'm going to be real with you. I've never heard of his school. Never heard of it. Tyrone Broden, we know he's from Bowling Green. We know that. But that is the question, right? Like, none of these guys are coming from schools where they're at least proven and they performed in those offenses where they're coming from Power 5 schools or even Group of 5. Like, we don't really know what we're in for, and those are the questions at wide receiver. Did they manage to go out and get guys that are going to fit this offense to a T? We don't know. We know they've got size. Andrew Armstrong, 6'4", 201. Tislaw, 6'5", 215. Jaden Wilson, 6'3". Now, he's not a transfer, but Jaden Wilson, 6'3". Tyrone Broden, 6'7". Samuel Bakke is like a tall 6'2", short 6'3", about 205. And then you have your guys like Centennial, who's 5'11", 178. Bryce Stevens, who's 5'10", 175, or 6 foot, 175. Chris Harris, a redshirt junior, 5'10", 180 pounds. Got a pretty good mix, but mostly your starting wideouts are going to be big bodies. We know that. And that, from what I understand, is a Sam Pittman thing. He likes those bigger-bodied receivers. Didn't do you a whole lot of good in the red zone. We'll see how it goes. Those are question marks, but we saw Tislaw look really damn good in practice. He got better and better week in and week out in spring camp. Same with Andrew Armstrong. I thought Armstrong was consistent all spring camp. He was consistent. I don't think I saw that guy drop more than a ball, more than one pass. Centennial was consistent. I don't know that I saw him drop a single pass. Bryce Stevens, Jaden Wilson. These are names worth keeping an eye on. Good old Hillsdale. And I'm not hating on those schools. I'm not hating on those kids. Good for them being good enough to be on Arkansas's map. And we know Arkansas was not the only school after someone like Isaac Tislaw. Primetime over in Colorado brought out a Tesla for this kid, thinking that's how you properly pronounce his name. Turns out we were all wrong. It's Tislaw. He just got out of surgery. Deion Sanders. I don't know what he's going to do at Colorado, y'all. It's either going to be a shit show or it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, I think, either way. You talk about mass exodus. Oh, my God. In and out. Just incredible. Yeah, so I think they're doing good, building on the offensive line. Someone brought up, it was Long Shot in our Patreon chat, who talked about how he felt like it just wasn't up to Sam Pittman's level yet. Since, when you bring in someone like Sam, you think they're going to recruit at a higher level more consistently along the offensive line. I think that's fair. I think it's fair to maybe question just what's going on there. Like, why aren't they doing a better job of bringing in more big time consistently year in and year out? Of course, again, you've only had 3 years, but why aren't they bringing in more of these kind of kids? Why are they having to kind of settle? Why are they going to whiff? At the moment, it certainly looks like they're going to whiff on McRoy, who's a 4-star prospect, but they have had past success. They have had past success since Sam Pittman has been here. On the offensive line, that is. They have had some success going after some of these guys. I think it was the 2022 class. If I could pull this up here. I think it was a 2022 class. Yeah, they had Andrew Chamblee, who was a 4-star. Marion Harris, who was a 4-star. Patrick Kutas, who was a 4-star. This is all coming from 247. So it's not like it's been cheeks the whole time, guys. It's not like they've been horrible the whole time. Like they have had some success grabbing these guys. I would argue Braun out of Florida was a hell of a pickup. I mean, he came in and knocked the doors down, and he's a starting interior guy. He's going to start at guard. He recovered from the broken. Was it a car accident? Is that what it was? They were talking about amputating a limb or a toe or something. I hope Pittman decides to start fall camp early August instead of almost waiting till September, says Johnny Jones. Well, you've got to abide by NCAA rule. I think the question is, how physical are they going to be this fall camp? How physical are they going to be? Are they going to go all out? You know, he kind of made some remarks about that back in spring. Nathaniel, I didn't see Dominic Johnson practice at all during spring camp. Now, I did. It's not to say that I was there every day, but when I was there, I never saw him. I never saw him practice. Yeah, they was talking about amputating his leg. Hopefully the surgery fixed it. I think they said there's no they don't need to amputate anything. Man, watching him in the NFL was a blast, man. I loved watching him play. Maybe that's why I don't mind a little bit of shit talking. I don't know. I come from that era, you know, where you talk shit on the basketball court, you talk shit on the football field. It's part of it. Always has been, always will be. People get so upset about players showboating a little bit. Hey, baby, I love that they love the game so much that they want to do that. You know, you're either not doing it enough. I remember the rhetoric around Matt Jones. Any of you who are old enough who watched those games and you watched Matt Jones, the first thing he did when he went to the sidelines, he went to the bench, he got a bottle of water and didn't really participate much. That's just how he was during games. I think he was probably thinking about what to do next. I don't think of course he loved his teammates and his team and wanted them to be great, but he wasn't someone often that you saw up and cheering, right? And you could say that about a couple of other players that have come, big-time players that you don't always see. So it's either they don't cheer enough, they're not cocky enough, or they're too cocky. But I like it. I love that they got a little life for the game. I love it, man. Same goes for basketball. I don't mind a bat flip in baseball. People get so butthurt over this stuff. You love to see it when a Razorback does it. Okay, so what if a volunteer does it? You can argue about what they're doing in their dugout. You know, Dave Van Horn doesn't like it. Maybe some of it goes too far. I don't know. I just don't really have a problem with it. They got to be physical. It hurt us last year not being physical in practice. I think they do, but you've got to be careful. You don't want to risk a whole bunch of injuries, you know. But yeah, John Everett Kutas was a hell of a backup. It's nice to see him out at right tackle. I thought he did fine during spring and what little we saw of him last year. But I still think he's got a little ways to go, and hopefully, you know, we see them get things straightened out, you know, throughout fall camp. So, yeah, there are going to be a lot of questions. J-Dog comes in to tell everybody Ryan Mallett died. Yeah, we already started off with that. We already talked about it. That was the breaking news. Part of the title. So, yeah. All right. Again, shout out to Patreon supporters, to sponsors, all you guys. If you're a Patreon supporter, man, I appreciate you. Yeah. Just tuned in. Well, I appreciate you being here, J-Dog. I seem to remember your name. I think you're an OG. Just been a while. Thanks for coming. Lagging now. I think it's probably your connection. Everything on my end's just fine, Johnny. I got all green on my side, buddy. I'm good. I think it might be your connection. Do you got string and a styrofoam cup on each end kind of internet? Because if you do, that might be the problem. I got that fiber optic here, man. I love it. Johnny says I got the hillbilly net. I love it. Oh, my in-laws were on that satellite internet forever, and it was so bad. I'm sorry, Johnny. That sucks, man. Hopefully one day you'll get on the fiber optic internet. All right, well, that's going to do it. I will close this show out again by I don't know, man. I really want to give a toast to Ryan Mallett. I might do that tonight. I'm going to pour me a glass of whiskey, smoke cigar, and give a toast to Ryan Mallett and thank him for what he did here, and of course, what he was doing for those high school kids down at Whitehall is a big loss for them too. So thoughts and prayers again to him, his family, his players, his coaches down at Whitehall. Just tough, just brutal, so sad. I don't know. We'll fire up some Ryan Mallett highlights tonight, maybe in Discord or something, to honor Ryan. Rest in peace, man. All right, I'll see you guys on the next one. I might be a little bit more limited this week. It might be 2 videos instead of 3. We're falling a little bit behind on some stuff here, but I'm going to try to get you 3 pieces of content. It could end up just being a couple of lives or just 1 live and then some more edited content, something like that. But, yeah, shout out to all you guys. Appreciate you, and until the next one, Woo Pig.